This is Guns N' Oz Watches, and this is my 0550, back from being repaired by Kai, and of course wasn't home, so it just came in while I was gone. Now, it still suffers from the same flaws that it had before I sent it out. It's just, or before I put it through the test. It has better tension, so they took the knife apart, basically bent the frame lock over, put more preload onto it, and then they replaced the removable piece of steel that locks up with the actual blade and creates the lock. And if you can see, we're getting 100% of that little piece of metal in there locking up with the blade, and that's good. Okay, the problem is it still has the same flaw that it had previously and why it failed the test, and I'm going to try to emphasize that right now. If you notice, the only part that's locking up is just a little section right there, where my, just right there. It's not locking on the blade anywhere else. You can see the blade is actually kind of more at an angle, as opposed to it's not parallel with that frame, with the hole cut out into the frame. And that's exactly why it failed previously, just because there wasn't a whole lot of metal contact. So when I said that the Buck Strider, which has a very thin liner, actually passed the test, it had more positive lockup. And I know that lockup here at the edge is stronger than anywhere else. Problem is, you only have such a small contact area that wear or any force on such a small surface area causes a tremendous amount of wear. See, previously, when I put it through the test, we had lockup from there all the way up. Now, if you can see, it's just right there. See where the oil has been transferred over onto the blade. So, is the knife repaired? Yes. Does it still have the same fatal flaw? Yes. I don't know if that's part of Hinderer's design or whether it's Kai or Zero Tolerance's execution, but the knife is basically fixed, has better pretension, but it will fail again, same way as it did previously. I'm really happy with the Emerson, the Zero Tolerance, manufactured and licensed through Emerson, but not so happy with this 550. I've seen videos, mainly in Russian, where they actually have tested this knife, this, that, or the other. The guy rates it, and he says this is one of the strongest knives he's ever tested, but his knife apparently didn't have that defect. In fact, his didn't even have a replaceable piece of metal there where the frame lock, on the frame lock, it was just a straight, I guess, titanium to blade. So, who knows? But, you know, it still has the same fail. Let's set that aside. SunJack. And, of course, this is the SunJack 14 volt with the battery. And, of course, I bought these separate. But the battery is working out really well. charges my phone very effectively. Don't really use the light, but that's just the way it is. Hold down, da 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 da. The one thing I like about it, it's got the short cord. Of course, the SunJack has 2 USB outputs, and it will share the 2 amps between the two if you have it, 2 things connected. So you'll basically be back to what USB used to put out. But this thing, with the 2 USB outs, it's great for an Android type device, because all you have to do is take your little cord, read your instructions. You have 2 amps out of USB 1, you have 1 amp out of USB 2, or output 2 is 2 amps, output 1 is 1 amp. You just take it, flip it around, go to your output 2, and then take that mini that was charging that and plug it into your phone, and you don't have to have any additional cords. Works really, really well with the Android type setup. As far as the amp output and also the cordage. Also, the problem that I had with the Goal Zero is it had a lot of circuitry in it that seemed to eat up a tremendous amount of power, and I haven't had that problem out of this SunJack from Gigawatt Inc. And this will charge my phone a couple times, where the one from Goal Zero wouldn't. As far as the materials going into this, they've all worked out really well. You can see that the things are double stitched. Not exactly the straightest stitches in the world, but they did it 2 passes on a single needle machine. But the Velcro, it's holding up, and I have been using this quite a bit, and it's worked. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and right now, this is the best solar setup for me with my Android type products. Sorry about being zoomed in, but we were just talking about the ZT knife. And that's the way it is. 2 great products. I'm glad they discontinued these, and I don't know that I would buy. I like the Emerson design a tremendous amount better. This one may be one of the best ones because it doesn't have the ball bearings. It has the phosphor bronze bushings. It has the replaceable lockup. It has this, there, the other, but it has the proper relief cuts into the frame. Didn't really need that one, but I guess they're just putting some jimping where it didn't need to be. But it works. Guns, Knives, and Watches 0550 SunJack, 14-watt solar panel and external battery, and this should cost you somewhere around $100, maybe $110. And of course, ZT knives usually cost you around $200. Whether this is, like I said, knives are a fashion statement, this, there, or the other, the majority of them. This may seem like a very hard-to-use knife, and if you have another copy of it, or if you have some other type of it, it may be, but it still seems like a very gadgety piece of equipment that, even with the 0550 being one of their less gadgety ones, because it doesn't have the ball bearing, they actually got the correct bolt in there, and made all the other corrections. It still seems to be not as strong and not as tough as it should be, given its weight, given its design, given this, that, or the other. Just because of improper fit. Of course, we have better retention now, but you know, I wish these people would put as much into it as this. And congrats, SunJack, you did a great job. And Kai, thank you for fixing my knife, but it still has the same design flaws that it originally caused it to fail. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and I'm out.